This was the What Does It Feel Like was kind of an idea for a category that I had in the beginning of the old channel. It was what does it feel like to be speared by Goldberg? What does it feel like to go into Thumbtacks? Then it was like the table bump. There was a bunch. Those were the three main ones that people wanted to know. By the way, Maven kind of did the ultimate, like, what does it feel like on a video that I wanted to react to. I don't know if we're going to do it in this episode, but he took like everybody's finishes at Kurt Hawkins' school, Brian Myers. So my God, he got his butt handed to him. I was like, oh my God, it's a lot. It's more finishes than I took in my entire career. Well, maybe not. I might be exaggerating that.
Well, in a row.
In one night, yeah. Yeah. To the disappointment of Vince McMahon, yes.
Right, let's get to it. Let's do the build up first. So, Abyss would put you into Thumbtacks at TNA Sacrifice after Daphne's match. Did you have to be talked into taking this? Because I imagine, whatever you call them, Thumbtacks, push pins, various different names for them. Is this the kind of thing that you have to really G yourself up to do? Did you have to be convinced into doing this spot, or was this something you've always wanted to do? As a former ECW wrestler, of course.
Well, that has nothing to do with this. It's not something I've always wanted to do, but you know what I wanted to do? I wanted to give the best impression and kind of pay my dues all over again to TNA, because I was very much in that first 6 months or however long in a probationary tryout period. And usually the way contracts worked, you were going to ask a question?
I was just going to interrupt and say, I'm sorry. I don't think people realize that you didn't wrestle for months in the build-up to the first match, yeah. No,
July, the Victory Road in July, where the infamous Charmel and Jenna match happened, the same show. That was my first match. It was all vignettes, then on cameras, and then interacting and doing all that stuff. Yeah, they really did stretch that out to a good point. And I was working out in the ring. So last week when we analyzed the 6-sided ring, that's when I was getting familiar with it during this time. But going back to the Thumbtacks, you have to understand, I was trying to put my best foot forward. I was trying to be a part of the roster. I was trying to pay my dues. And I was also trying to get politically favored in a way where when that 6-8 months or however long came up, that I would get a good structured contract with a guarantee. So doing these things leading up to whatever that point was, we're going to get to that because it didn't work out. As Hogan, Bischoff, Rob Van Dam, Jeff Hardy keep walking by me, I see the dollar signs, the dollar amount just keep going down. But I volunteered to do this. I insisted on doing this because it was right for the story. If you think back, that match in Philly between Matt Morgan and Abyss, Matt Morgan gave him the finish and threw him into the Thumbtacks. So this was a call back to that. So just to give you a little bit of context with the finish, it was presented in a way that I was starting to abuse Abyss. It was becoming apparent that I was not his friend to other people. I was trying to act like I was his friend, professional therapist. This moment here was basically telling him to chokeslam Taylor Wilde into the Thumbtacks. And then the next thing happened, what I volunteered to do. Aha was backstage. I was trying to impress him.
Any preparation? Can you prepare your back for this kind of thing? Can you do any preparation or like mitigate the shock or the pain of it?
The only way you can prepare yourself, and this is the only way I applied to it, was pure and utter ignorance and not knowing what the feeling was going to feel like. Nobody clued me into it, and I didn't want anybody to. I knew it was going to hurt, but I wasn't quite sure the feeling that I was going to feel, which was an absolutely new feeling that I never felt before in my life and never wanted to feel again, but I had to feel it again at Bound for Glory when I reffed the match. It was not fun. But here, what I'm looking at too is, obviously these Thumbtacks or push pins, as you call them, they are going to penetrate the skin. There is going to be blood. I'm wearing a white shirt. So the visual of that is going to be really, really, really strong. Not to mention, what a jerk. You're telling this big monster to put this little girl into the Thumbtacks. And it was a female monsters ball match. So it was part of the match. But what a jerk. So it was like the perfect storm to finally get what I deserve for that moment.
Does the adrenaline counteract the pain? Basically, what I'm saying is it'll feel icky, it'll feel weird. Does it feel worse when you get to the back?
It doesn't feel worse when you get to the back. I'm telling you what, the only thing I can, and you can see if Chris is B-rolling this in, when I hit and my mouth feels like like I look like a what do they call like a wide mouth bass when I hit it, because my mouth contorted into a real, like the pain receptors, everything. The one word I can describe it by is nauseating. I almost vomited, and that probably would have made it better, but disgusting. I almost vomited into the air when I hit. It was like nerve endings, pain receptors. My legs went numb for a half a second from the shock. It hurt so much worse. And you got to think too, Abyss, who I told to do this because I didn't want just a gentle, I said, you got to drive me 911 style into the Thumbtacks, because I knew when I was airborne, my temptation was to look back, and my temptation would be to hang on and not want to take the bump just instinctively. Dude, I don't know what hurt worse, the actual bump or the Thumbtacks, because he drove me with everything he had with that.
Did Abyss give you any, I don't know what tips he could give you, but did he give you any tips of how to take it? Because he's obviously done it quite a few times.
I think he said, oh, no, it's not too bad. It doesn't hurt. You damn liar.
Dare I say, he's got a bit more meat on the bone than you have. Does it make a lot of difference when, It
doesn't make a lot of difference. Meat on the bone means it's still penetrating your skin. It's not like it's hitting your vertebrae or anything. But man, if I knew, wrestlers are so blessed. Like, we didn't sterilize. I did on the Bound for Glory match. We'll get to that. Nobody sterilized those Thumbtacks or anything. I could have got a spine infection then. I could have got a staph infection, anything whatsoever. Wrestlers play it fast, and it wasn't the first match. So there was sweat on the mat and bodily fluids. There might have been blood from a previous match. Who knows?
Yeah, well, that's what I was kind of going to ask. Now you've got 100 cuts all over your body, and you're on a ring canvas that's been used thoroughly, to use a word. I'm surprised you didn't get, more people don't get infections. People do get infections, or ringworm, or whatever it might be, or staph if it gets really bad. Or, there's even worse infections out there. But yeah, were you not somebody who was ever particularly bothered about that, or the potential consequences?
Well, I was very lucky. The first thing is that I'm wearing a shirt. So when we get the removal part of this segment, it makes it easier than just bare skin. You can just assume, but it doesn't hurt any less on the removal. It's like a Band-Aid all at once. We'll get to that. But wearing the shirt and not being involved in the match physically, as far as me sweating as well, without a shirt on, that made it a little bit easier. And also, of course, went right to the back, got it off, and then got peroxide, just poured all over my back. It wasn't cuts. It was 100 punctures in my back with that. So, and there was a lot of blood, a lot more than I thought. Even I have a picture that I'll try to send to Chris of me looking over my shoulder with the tacks in my shirt. Dude, it's a lot more blood than I thought it would be. Yeah, I thought it'd be like a little, like when you prick your finger if you're diabetic and you got to get the insulin thing. But it was like, I don't know. It was like the bed of nails type thing, but worse.
Did it show through? Because I'm drawing a blank on. I remember seeing you take it without a top on, but did it show through the shirt, the white shirt, quite well?
Yeah,
the blood.
Yeah, the white on that, the blood through it. Because as a matter of fact, the one thing I was aware of, I was in shock. That those moments when I went like this and screamed, but then I realized I had told the handheld guy, "Please stay tight on me. I'm going to try to roll over on my left shoulder." Which, by the way, I rolled over in the tax. So, yeah, I was like, thank God I rolled away, because they shot in the cinematic, the cinematic packages. They shot with that cinematic camera and the regular TV camera. But I rolled over, and when I did it, I was like, oh, F. like I was selling the rollover. as much as the choke slam, but it wasn't in the camera.
What's the best kind of... I know you've done it twice, but what's the best kind of bump to take into tax? Is it just as flat as you can, or... I mean...
The best type is when someone is body to body with you. Black hole slam was easier than the choke slam because you're way up here taking your own bump. With Abyss black hole slam me, or if someone tries to, like, say the Mark Henry slam or something like that, it's easier because you take it, it hurts, but there's literally no, like, your life flashing before your eyes as you're in midair. Like, they're driving you through it. It's over before you realize it. The Abyss one was harder in a way, but easier because it's just like you bounced off and then you're turned over sideways rather than taking the full bump yourself. I don't know how that makes sense, but there's no easy or painless way to take it. But if you don't have a choice and the person's got a hold of you, like, okay, I'm along for the ride now.
So before I know what you want me to get to, but I'll get there in a second. Does it hurt anywhere worse? Because I was thinking, man, if you got a tack in your elbow, you know where like your funny bone is? Man, that seems like the worst place to get it. That's just me thinking. But spine, arms, upper back, lower back, elbows, legs, where do you feel it most?
I felt it most on the rollover because it was my forearm and elbow. It was having the meat on the bone, like you said, does help, especially if you're hitting the bony areas of that. But I think the worst place would be, like, where was it where I think it was during the ref match? Oh, I got it. We're going to watch this on Patreon, I think even next week or something. When Abyss counted with my hand, there were thumbtacks, and I acted like I was dead, and the thumbtacks were going into my hand on each count of the 3 count, and it hurt worse than the black hole slam.
Oh, dear.
It's like a splinter. When you get a splinter in your finger, it just is annoying for days, but it hurts so much.
You probably cut this out the clip, but I'll just tell you this. I've had a pin in my hand. Someone put a pin on my chair in school and put it on, and my habit was I put my hand on the chair first and I just went straight through.
So it was like Con Air, where they had the thing.
Yeah, so it went straight through, and I didn't feel it at all. It was bizarre.
Oh.
But I just remember looking at it.
The other side of your hand?
No, it was only a short needle, thankfully. But
good God, man!
I know. Anyway, that's school for you. Oh, I know. I was 10. Anyway, is there pain after the fact, or is it? Did I ask this before? Is it more painful after the fact, and also is it more just an annoyance having them taken out of you because one, it takes so long, and you also said it was easy with a t-shirt, so I guess you can just pull the t-shirt and get most of them out that way.
Yeah, that's part of it. That's a spoiler right there. Does it hurt less? No, it's a Band-Aid. You're ripping a huge Band-Aid off your back via the dress shirt in my case. And I remember walking to the back after that, and a few people clapped because, like, what do we expect this WWE coming in? This guy coming in, is he going to want to do business the way we do business? It's very much a locker room thing. So when I got appreciation from some of the guys who had watched that. And I remember Terry Taylor pulled me up as I still had the thumbtacks, went up to Russo, and he's like, "Hey man, we're gonna have to pay this guy soon. He's really like part of the locker room or part of the team." Russo's like, "I know, he did a great job. Told him I did a great job," and he goes, "Now let's get them out of your back," because I think they were filming or taking pictures of me taking it out back. I'm not sure who did it. It might have been Terry. I was like, well, how do you do this? And he goes, like this. And he just pulled my shirt. I went, oh my God. Like when Sandman got caned on that house show by me. Oh my God. I did more than that as far as swearing, and I was like, are they all out? And he goes, I don't think so. And he was trying to put the shirt back against me. No. I tore the buttons off the shirt. I was like, no. I know.
You could tell it was his first time.
Wrestlers are mean too.
Oh, did TNA have a permanent trainer or someone like that in the back who would help wrestlers with injuries or whatnot?
Yeah, I believe so. I can't recall the person's name. They had people on hand at times, and that was the person that brought the peroxide. And I asked them just pour it on my back, which there were people asking, like, why do you have peroxide being poured in your back? And I go, you're definitely one of the boys. You don't understand basic medical triage after that.
Well, amazingly, the next question is, has anybody thought of boiling the tacks first to disinfect them as best as possible? And you said you did the second time, which is far more considerate than most wrestlers would be.
I assumed the first time that there was somebody to sterilize. Then I realized I was not in WWE anymore. And maybe they didn't do it there. But yeah, I said, well, man, at least they were sterilized. And somebody went, huh? Sterilized? Okay. All right. Understood. And then when we got to Irvine, California, I think I went to the CVS or something. And I just poured, they were still in the bag. I just poured the peroxide right into the bag, shook it up. We're good to go. Put it out onto the ring myself. So nobody had anything to do with it after that. Because, some wrestler's going to think they're funny and pee in the bag or do some goofy stuff to it.
What, and kill you with an infection?
Yeah. I mean, that's funny in wrestling, isn't it?
I'll probably take that personally. Sabu told me last year, I think, it's the one thing he wasn't down with trying was thumbtacks. This is Sabu saying it. I mean, he's done barbed wire and glass and everything else, but he just went, dude, that's too gnarly for me. And he never did thumbtacks for whatever reason. And I found that so fascinating that was his line in the sand, but it wasn't your line in the sand as well.
So somehow I'm crazier than Sabu or less smart than Sabu. I mean, I can admit that he was pretty smart guy in some ways. So he's so funny. I got to keep saying that. We did the tribute. It was episode 62, I believe. So we still miss Sabu. He was so unintentionally funny with that because he could have just been saying that. No, top thumbtacks, F thumbtacks. Nope. Yeah, he wasn't into it. Maybe I wish he had mentioned that to me. Like, dude, I couldn't even watch it go through the thumbtacks. It was just, I felt like, dude, you're Sabu. That's what I felt like. Say if that conversation had taken place, like a Dutch story, I can make pretend the conversation actually took place. Dude, I love the story with Vader, the 38. He wrote me in. I was like, did he really do that? I watched the Dutch clip when he worked Vader.
Yeah.
He said he pulled out a 38 and put it in. And he goes, we can do this the easy way or the hard way. And then he goes, no, that never happened.
I think I just spent too much time with Dutch. I know when he's launching into a story.
Dude, but you got me, brother.
Okay, well, what's the psychology, do you imagine, that Sabu's more than happy to do barbed wire but not thumbtacks? What's the difference?
I think it's somewhat selective insanity, if that's a term. Maybe he might have been a kid and he might have been in school like you, and somebody put the thumbtack on his seat and he sat in it, and now he's done.
Why did you see, and I don't know if you can watch it now, just pull it up and find it yourself. I didn't send you the video, and we can B-roll it in. A fan at an AEW show like a year or two ago, there was like some sort of multi-man hardcore match in AEW. And Ibushi, after the camera stopped rolling, there was thumbtacks on the canvas. For whatever reason, he just took a bump into the thumbtacks after the match was over, then got up and gave everyone a big thumbs up and walked off.
Hey, that sounds about right.
Did you see that?
Yes. Did you see the one, and you could B-roll this in, Chris, I encourage you, because nobody will ever believe that it happened, and you're bringing it up. Kota Ibushi, on some outdoor independent show, takes those Roman candle fireworks things and puts them into his trunks as he's standing on top of a car. Am I wrong? Did I imagine this in another universe? Is this a Mandela effect? Okay.
No, it happened. It happened.
So I think the thumbtacks is pretty tame as far as explosives in your genital area. I rubbed my face too.
Why would a wrestler, and I know why a wrestler would do it, I know this is a rhetorical question pretty much, but why would you just have to go out and just totally expose one of the few things people can believe are completely real in wrestling? Like, why try and just give away every single trick in the bag?
I don't know. I mean, this has happened. I'm only going to give one incident that goes along with this, and you already know what I'm going to talk about. You're looking it up. Teddy Hart, ROH, diving off the cage repeatedly and taking his own bumps and just wrestling the Invisible Man and diving outside on the Invisible Man, doing 450s off the cage. I mean, I can't think of it, but I have to think there's been times that would be cool, or WWE has done this. You want to talk about exposing the business? WWE has done comedy hours with their top guys that people take seriously for the house after the show goes off the air. Like almost every week. They still do it. They do the ha-ha, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like that to me, they're already left happy with a dark match. Let them leave happy. Or just don't even have the dark match. I don't understand why they've always done that. To me, that's always been the self-serving popping the boys afterwards. And I have to think that's a Kota Ibushi thing. I want to pop the boys, or I want to get off on going through thumbtacks for no good reason.
Yeah, that one was one that really got me. The reason why they started doing dark matches after like Raw or anything is so they could advertise the main event is Steve Austin versus The Rock. And basically they just, after the camera stopped rolling, they do that match. 6 minutes, keep it nice and easy, something for the fans, then they go home. It's basically something they could advertise as a mega main event that they actually wouldn't put on TV. And then from there, it spiraled into the, promos back and forth and the Spinaroonie contest and everything else.
And also that's where Vince sent people out to give pretty much an untrained wrestler, Jonathan Coachman, all this like finishes. Remember? Taker came out, everybody came out, and he said, I have to do this, or this comes down from the boss. To me, that's stupidity. And then the Ibushi thing is stupidity. And me going through thumbtacks is stupidity. It's all stupid, as Jim Cornette would say, right?
To wrap up the thumbtack thing then, do you regret it? Or are you sort of glad that you did it because, I don't know, what did you get out of it ultimately?
No, I don't regret it. Like I said, we're going to get to this point, and we did it in the full WSI interviews in the past. I had to do these things to kind of get initiated into the TNA locker room, to show I wanted to do business, to show Jeff, Russo, Dixie, Terry Taylor, or The Office that I wouldn't be a disagreeable person about things. Now, if it's beyond the pale, obviously, but I was in a storyline with a guy who did hardcore things. It involved thumbtacks. I abused this guy and took everything away, much like the right to censor, stripped away all the violence. And much like with the right to censor, what ended up happening? The Dudleys put me through a table. So this was kind of an analogy to that. Would I do it again? No, but I did it for the sake, really did it for the sake of one of those structured deals with guarantees where I could earn a full-time living. And guess what? Here's a spoiler. Didn't work out. But that's the chance I was willing to take at the time with this pretty much very violent angle with a violent character.
Just because you said approval, was there anyone in particular you wanted approval from in TNA, or just the office in general?
Whoever controlled the money.
Yeah.
How's that?
Right, let's move on.
It's not approval. It's not so much approval as, okay, he's part of the team. He's not just some WWE guy coming in trying to get over here to go back to WWE, which, basically I said last episode, that's what every guy was trying to do. Every girl was trying to do in a way. But it'd be great to make a really good living here while I'm here, and maybe quality of life over what WWE was offering, people would have stayed. I know Sting chose it for a bunch of different reasons, but it had to be a lot of money, but not a lot of work.